This is Jedis for Jesus. Since this is the 20th anniversary of that horrible day, I will be sharing a few videos on here about that day. Whether you're watching on your smart device or your computer, please, on the bottom, go ahead and leave a comment. It really helps out our YouTube channel. Thank you. Subscribe, give a thumbs up, and hit the bell. Thank you. This month is September, and on the 11th, it will be 20 years ago we had some evil men do some horrible things to our country. I made a video in 2016 that I said how much I appreciate being in this country and how much this flag behind me means to me. It's unbelievable what's going on these days in 2020 and 2021 about what people are saying about this wonderful country we live in. There's no other place to be in the world than the United States of America. It's the best country, and so many people want to come to this country. We have to respect this flag behind me. It means so much. It saddens my heart what this country has been going through and how much it has changed since September 11th, 2001. What does this flag mean to me? It means freedom. It means love, peace, and helping others. We had a president that supported this country in 2020, and I pray that he will return and save America. He just about did anything for this country and the people. He was a president for the people. So here's that video I did in 2016. On this day in 2001, evil men did a horrible thing to the United States. And from that day forward, that flag behind me, I have flown since the day the American flag has been up there day and night with a light on it, taking it down only to replace it with a newer flag. This country means so much to me, and I just want to give a shout out to the armed service that protect it. God bless you, special men and women. We all can remember where we were on September 11th, 2001, when that first plane hit the World Trade Center. And this man was making a documentary with the fire department, and he was downtown. He heard the noise of the plane going overhead. Here's the video. In the next video you're about to see, of course, there was cameras all over the World Trade Center, and then you'll see the next plane hit the other tower. This next video explains a little bit more.
The first, 8:46 a.m., the moment that first plane hit the North Tower. The second plane would strike the South Tower only 17 minutes later, and the two began to collapse. In all, it took 102 minutes between the first crash and the collapse of both towers. In that time, two other planes crashed, one into the Pentagon and another in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. Those attacks left 2,977 people dead, from first responders to travelers and those inside the offices. Their ages ranged from 2 to 85 years.
There are so many stories out there about the people in the building, the people in the plane, lots of movies out there about this ordeal that happened on that day, and just how it's affected a lot of people's lives.
I took an express subway train from Times Square to Chambers Street, which is the stop just before the World Trade Center. The first thing I saw was the two World Trade Centers. Both of them had smoke and fire coming from them. I just started making my pictures. You have to be very aware of your surroundings when you're in a situation like this. You have to be careful that you don't become a victim. Journalists don't run away from a falling building. We don't run away from the fire. We run to it because it's our job to record history. I didn't know I had that photograph of that man in that position until I actually saw it on my computer when I got back to the office. I called one of our photo editors and I showed him the picture and I said, this is it. This has got to be the picture. This man was like an arrow bisecting the two World Trade Centers. I woke up the next morning and I opened up the paper and there was my photograph of Falling Man. It was a very brave thing for them to use that picture. It was the only picture that was like that of anybody falling from the building. The only picture that showed any kind of human interaction like that. A paper in Allentown, Pennsylvania used the picture and they put it on their whole back page in the newspaper, and the editor said that it was that important to photograph, and he got a lot of mail, letters to the editor saying, you shouldn't have run this is not something I want my children to see. Tom Janot, the author of the Esquire article, he's the one who came up with the name The Falling Man. That was the name of the article, and it sort of stuck. I've never regretted taking that photograph at all. It's probably one of the only photographs that actually shows someone dying that day.
And I would like to read you a story that probably wasn't out in the news media about what happened in the Pentagon. After the flight of 77 hit the Pentagon on 9/11, the following incident occurred. A chaplain who happened to be assigned to the Pentagon told an incident that never made the news. A daycare facility inside the Pentagon had many children, including infants who were in heavy cribs. The daycare supervisor, looking at all the children they needed to evacuate, was in a panic over what they could do. There were many children, mostly toddlers, as well as the infants that would need to be taken out with the cribs. There was no time to try to bundle them into carriers and strollers. Just then, a young Marine came running into the center and asked what they needed. After hearing what the center director was trying to do, he ran back out into the hallway and disappeared. The director thought, well, here we are on our own. About 2 minutes later, that Marine returned with 40 other Marines in tow. Each of them grabbed a crib with a child, and the rest started gathering up toddlers. The director and her staff then helped them take all the children out of the center and down towards the park near the Potomac. Once they got about 3/4 of a mile outside the building, the Marines stopped in the park, and then they did a fabulous thing. They formed a circle with the cribs, which were quite sturdy and heavy, like the covered wagons in the Old West. Inside the circle of the cribs, they put the toddlers to keep them from wandering off. Outside the circles were the 40 Marines, forming a perimeter around the children and waiting for instructions. There, they remained until the parents could be notified and come get their children. The chaplain then said, "I don't think any of us saw nor heard of this on any of the news stories of the day." It is an incredible story of our men there. There isn't a dry eye in the room. The thought of those Marines and what they did and how fast they reacted, could we expect any less from them? It was one of the most touching stories from the Pentagon. It's the military, not the politicians, that ensure our right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It's the military who salutes the flag, who serves beneath the flag, and whose coffin is draped by the flag. So I read that story, and I just want to say thank you for the Marines and the servicemen out there in Afghanistan that gave up their lives at the beginning of this month for protecting our freedoms. I am a Bible-believing Christian. I believe Jesus was born of a virgin. He was crucified on a cross. He died, was buried, and 3 days later, he rose from the dead. That is the Jesus, that is the God that I believe in. This is Jedis for Jesus. I hope to see you one day soon in heaven.